New video. Let's take a look at Mac today. I've got Mac. I have to move him from room to room, and that is to keep him entertained because he's never happy more than a couple of hours or maybe even an hour in one room. He just gets very bored and starts scratching on the walls and the doors. So and then he starts knocking things over. And funny thing, I mean, not funny, but I went in the other day and he'd gotten up into the blinds. I have just these cheap blinds and a lot of the windows, you know, just the cheap blinds, the veneer blinds that you open and close and they just kind of flip. Well, Matt got into the blinds and was hanging upside down and his legs were caught in the blind. And he was tearing the blind up, but he was hung up and he was hanging upside down and he was stuck. So for like 10 minutes until I heard him panicking and frolicking and banging against the window, making, you know, loud noises, I went in there and I was like, "But God, dog, you're hung up in the window thing." I mean, it's just nuts. And if I'd been gone for 4 hours and he had been stuck like that, I would have been bad news. He just gets into everything like that. Every day I come in and I'm like, something's fallen on him, or it's just, this Tegu is a different breed of animal. Now, share with your story if you have a Tegu and gets into trouble and knocks things over and damages things and gets him or her gets himself into dangerous situations. I saw, one lady that had a Tegu and it got down into the floor and it got into the air conditioner vents, and they had to go in and cut the air conditioner vents in the bottom of the house to get the Tegu out. I mean, that's my story. Mac would get into something like that and it would just be detrimental, and it can just be also detrimental to their life possibly, or they can get outside and they're gone and they would be killed by probably one of the neighborhood dogs. But let's turn around and see what Mac's doing in my room. He loves to be in this room because there's just junk on the floor, and he just loves to climb on everything. Let me just say now, if I had the room in there and I just had books stacked, 8 feet high, that's just the best thing I can come up with, in a like a triangle, or a pyramid in there. If I put Mac in there, he sees that and his little eyeballs just get big, and his immediate response is he wants to climb to the top of that and just conquer it. I can't wrap my mind around how a reptile does things like this. If I put my mountain bike in there and I'm gone for 30 minutes, I come back in, he's sitting on top of the handlebars. Or if he has any kind of way to possibly get up to a 8-foot ledge or 6-foot ledge that's high up, on the side of a wall, I'll come in and somehow he's gotten up there and he's just sitting there looking at me like, I've caught him, and he wasn't supposed to be doing that. That's just how nut this reptile is, and that's why I struggle sometimes. But let's go in and enough talking. Let's go in and see what he's doing in the room. All right. Well, usually he's up here in this window. He sits in this window and immediately comes to this window and sits for hours and just watches out that window. And he was just up here about 2 minutes ago and he knew I was probably coming back in with the camera. So let me find him and bring him over. At one point I had a bunch of foam insulation here, these foam sheets, and I had it stacked up about this high. And every time I come in here, he has knocked everything on the floor. I'll come in and it'll look like this and more. And I'm like, why is a reptile coming in here and how is he doing that? I mean, what is the intention and purpose of the Tegu coming in and spreading all this around the room? Like I said, it was about that high. So here he is. And he just gets in and tears everything up. He'll come over here me move the camera. I'll come over here and he'll take, this is my auto detailing box. You know, I need some more boxes so I can put all these wires in different boxes. And I'll come in here and all these bottles are on the floor and rags are all, you know, strewn across, and the box is knocked over, and he gets into everything and makes such a mess. He's super sweet. I have a lot of faith in him to not hurt me, which he could very easily hurt me. And you know, if you come in and you just stuck your finger right up in near his mouth, I mean, the chances are he would open his mouth and take a bite of your finger. You can't be dumb. You got to be smart. But I mean, I have very little concerns about, you know, holding his head. Sometimes if I hold his head, he'll shake his head. He doesn't like that, but you know, because I want to get his head under control. If I'm going to put my fingers around his mouth, because yeah, he's a reptile, and he can just a moment's notice decide to flip his head around and get your finger if he's hungry, and he's always hungry, always hungry. So you got to be smart. But if you're touching him back, there's little risk to be, you know, chomped on. But he loves to come sit here on the windowsill. I mean, this is about 1.5 feet up. I mean, that kind of is, you know, a pretty good climb for him. But he will come up and he will stand on his rear feet and on his tail and stand straight up and to get up things. And that's pretty amazing that they can literally stand up on their rear feet and stand up in that position. Very, very strange little creatures. Very, very unique. I never would have known about Tegus, you know, without the pandemic and kind of getting back interested in reptiles again, and watching some of the YouTube channels of some of the YouTube more experienced, you know, bigger YouTube channels, and got me back into, you know, loving reptiles. I never stopped loving reptiles. I just, you know, forgot that I was interested in them, and loved having scaly creatures and running around the house and playing with them and stuff. But Mac is such a cool reptile. Always doing something, always going somewhere, always something on his mind that he wants to go do. And so, you know, this reptile is definitely not for everybody, is what I'm trying to get to the point to. They take so much effort and a lot of food and a lot of space and a lot of attention. And I'll close this video out. I'm traveling. I'm hopefully going to be traveling even more, and so I'm going to have to cut my time with them by probably 70%. And Mac, if I'm not here to take care of Mac daily, let me raise my camera up. If I'm not here daily to take care of Mac and switch him from room to room and, you know, hand feed him every day, and take him and clean up his poo-poo, because when he poo-poos, it's smelly and bad. And he just needs space and so much attention. So what I'm going to do, and I've been experimenting with, is I have I'm going to put him in my garage. I have a detached garage, and it's about, you know, safely probably, you know, 40 feet by 50 feet. It's a big garage. It's a 2.5 car garage. And now that it's warmer, you know, it may dip down to, you know, 79 at night in there, but, you know, maybe climb up to 88 degrees during the day, and I have fluorescent lights in there. I've tidied it up and made it where he can't get into trouble, you know, and kind of move some gas containers and things on the floor. And I've put up a 360 camera in there so that, you know, I can watch him whenever I want to. And it has a motion sensor, and it'll track him as he walks around. And so he can go poop on the concrete, and it's not going to do anything. He can't tear up the carpet. There's 99.9% no way to get out. I would say that's close to 100% because I wouldn't risk even 1% of him getting out and being killed or lost. And he'll have a blast in there because he can climb on everything. Everything's metal and wood, and man, he can run around and go crazy, knock things over if he wants to, and it's not going to bother me because it's in the garage. I'm going to take my car out this time. I'm going to take it to the airport and leave it there because he could scratch my car up if for some reason he got up on the sides of it, and I don't want him or get up into the motor area and have a problem getting him out. So I don't want to risk that, but I'm going to put him in the garage and leave him for 3 days. Give him a food bowl and a water bowl. Feed him well before I leave, and then leave him in there and come back and hopefully everything's good. And like I said, I got the camera to watch him and make sure he's doing okay, just for peace of mind. But other than that's the end of the video. And Matt thanks you for watching. He is a good boy, but so much work, and and that type of work and that type of level of care is not for everybody. So just be aware of that if you watch Tegu videos and you think they'd be cool, because they grow big fast. I mean, they grow large, and they got big nails, and they're strong. So other than that, bye-bye. Have a good day.